And with this in mind, we go forward to the 6 to 7 presenters for this session. And we will start with Exodus Chun-Long, which will present Enriching Astronomy Education through Interdisciplinary Dark Sky Initiatives. So let's welcome Exodus.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm so glad to be here. And today we'd like to share. I would like to share about how we can apply astronomy educations on through dark sky initiatives. So basically, astronomy and light sky and dark sky are closely related stats. In the light time, we are always wish more people to engage in stargazing and sci astronomy activities. And actually, there are a lot of different approaches that we can try out for integrating astronomy and dark sky, including by astrodourism. There's a lot of different places that are trying to build up dark sky protected regions or reserved areas. And especially for astronomy educator, we always wish to integrate STEAM educations to apply to inspire more learners or science communicators in learning astronomy in different ways. For example, we always aware people to motivate people to be aware of the stargazing manner and also the precaution of astronomical observations. For example, using red light in the nighttime and also pointing the lights into the ground area, and also always be cautious about the usage of telescope and also the laser pointer. And besides that, I think public education is always important that for people to maintain environments that is suitable for stargazing and contribute in providing a really great stargazing experience for different people to contribute. Besides that, in Hong Kong, we are trying out integrating astronomy education into public education. So we're trying two different approaches, including the engineering design and also scientific inquiry, that we wish to motivate learners to explore astronomy by solving real-life issues based on their social observations and also think of innovative ways, including building up prototypes, design thinking models, and also by some hands-on experience or experiential learning process in order to contribute to learn science by multisensory. So basically, we do have tried out different ways for enhancing astronomy educations through dark sky innovation, including building up like our constellations, which is learning about different seasonal constellations, and at the same time building up dark sky friendly light shields based on the actual situations that in the urban area, the outdoor lighting, how to design a dark sky friendly light shields in order to be in line with the sustainability goals and also reduce the effects to the rural areas and also not affecting the general astronomical observations. So we also tried out other ways, including the dark sky friendly light shields, which is a modification of the light pollution kit set. So basically, it's starting a prototype that encouraging learners and also the general public to build up a light pollution kit sets that they can build up something which is dark sky friendly. And astrophotography could also be a medium that's allowing people to know more about different types of artificial night at night and light pollutions in the urban area. Besides that, we also tried out through dark sky advocacies, initiatives, and also social innovations. So it's basically be in line with the design thinking and social innovation model. So based on the social observations and define the problems that they wish to solve, and through the ideation brainstorming some effective or possible solutions, and by building a prototype that's try to test whether it's feasible and whether it can really solve the real life issues, including light pollutions or the mega constellations issues that affecting astrophotography or the use of light in the nighttime, especially for astrodourism. And there are a lot of different online platforms that are trying out. So also motivating the younger generation of learners to contribute in citizen science projects that they can try to learn to build up the science literacies and also the important skills that they can really learn how to be an astronomer or really experience their real jobs that if they wish to pursue in the future that they want to contribute in astronomy educations or related career jobs. And besides that, for interdisciplinary. So in recent years, we always be aware of the inclusions in science communication. So learning astronomy or promoting astronomy or communicating astronomy is not just through digital image or public lectures or speaking. Many other approaches can be tried out, including an inverse type of stargazing activities. So besides traditional sidewalk astronomy or stargazing activities, we can also try out light pollution field trips. So allowing the general public to learn more about different artificial night and night. So it's really important that, especially in Hong Kong, we are facing with urban light pollutions. We motivate the general public to contribute to know more about different types of light pollution that we are facing with, and also the consequence and the effects by the seriousness of urban light pollutions, not just mental health, sleeping quality, and disruption of the wildlife in the nighttime, and also uh, affecting the astronomical research from the observatories. And besides that, we're also allowing the general public to know more about that. They can really have chances to contribute to the citizen science projects by measuring the night sky brightness, especially in the central area, the metropolis area, that they can really measure the dark sky brightness and also to learn more about the Bortle scale, that which might be useful if they wish to continue to explore about astronomy, because dark sky is always important to provide a great environment for stargazing. And continue also, in Hong Kong, we are facing with light pollutions that affecting a lot of observations, including learning about the seasonal constellations and also observing the meteor shower, are also affected by the urban light pollutions and unpredictable weather in the nighttime. That may also affecting astronomical research. And it's predicted that many scientists might say that, oh, in the future, that Milky Way may no longer be visible in the area. Our next generation might not have chances to see the Milky Way in naked eye in the urban area. So, based on these questions, that I think is another important thing is about the global and polar regions research. So, basically, there are a lot of different things related. So, especially the aurora, the northern nights or southern nights, and also the life that the wildlife in the nighttime that we're able to see at the nighttime, including the firefly or other species. So besides that, it's also important for astronomy that are also related to the astrodourism, the sky culture. For example, I visited to Tasmania, Australia, a few years ago, which is a great experience to capture the emu in the sky, which only be able to observe in a really dark sky reserved area or with less light pollutions in national parks. So basically, in Hong Kong, we might not even have chances to take that great picture like this quality. Even we are in the rural area or national parks, so it's a really great experience that to learn from different culture and learn from different places the approaches that what they do in the dark in the nighttime to maintain a dark sky desirable environments. Besides that, dark sky also allowing us to learn more about different culture in different countries and different historical myths. So even in the sky is one of the most iconic in Australia. That's allowing different people to learn more about astronomy in cultural way, and it's a really great reference for sharing. Besides that, in Hong Kong, we also have a closer dark sky community in Shenzhen. So basically, it's a really great community that allowing us to observe the Milky Way in the nighttime. And that's a lot of different policies supporting, allowing the buildings to have some strict regulations on controlling light pollutions. And it's so great that also able to see fireflies that's flying really closer to me, and it's a really great experience. Besides that, it's also a great environment that providing us for not only astronomy but also learning about earth science, and natural hiking. And I've also visited to Yunnan is in China. That's a really sophisticated observatory center in that regions that's operated by Chinese Academy of Science. So actually, there are a lot of different remote telescopes and large-scale observatories operated not just China but also in coastal cities and regions. And also, there are a lot of different radio telescopes that are really great experience that strongly encourage for different people. That experience is a really great experience that's allowing us to promote astronomy through field trips, allowing different peoples to really have chances to observe and to learn more about different types of telescope in large scale facilities. And yeah, the radio telescope, as you can see. And besides that, in the nighttime, also a great experience for stargazing manners and also allowing the general public to really able to see the Milky Way in naked eyes. And they're also a great service by the local people that providing with large-scale telescope for stargazing with guiding of different constellations and instructions. And there are also different remote telescopes that are allowing us for stargazing in the nighttime and also learn more about astronomy in different ways. So basically, remote telescope might be a future trend that allowing us to take pictures that not no longer hindered by the weather conditions or the forecast, and we can take pictures of the night sky in different places. And also some old telescopes that allowing us to know more about the history of optics. So I've also visited to the Keep Peak National Observatory in the U.S. It's also always also a good experience for stargazing, to know more about the stargazing manner, and also there are a lot of great facilities that's providing for astronomers, which is almost the largest telescope in the world, allowing us to know more about the astronomical observations in different places, to have chances to really interact with the researchers from different places. And also the light side is really great, and as a dark sky reserve area, it's providing me a really good feedback that probably in the future that we might consider setting up a dark sky reserve area in Hong Kong. As with Hong Kong, we do have a Hong Kong Astro Park that's with a lot of historical ancient Chinese instruments about astronomy. And this is our future plan that we always wish not just science communications, but also promoting the interdisciplinary educations, and also providing with ideas that to serve with people from different needs and different in inclusive way for science communications. And this manual is published by us last year that we worked together. We called it Exploring Astronomy from A to Z. Each alphabet based on related to one theme about astronomy, and there's a lot of different hands-on experience activities, not just science experiments, simulations, and also digital learning, or even hands-on building up models, which are really interesting. That's which is in line with the new syllabus in Hong Kong that we're trying up a new subject called science subjects in Hong Kong that including a lot of different astronomy and aerospace or astronautic related elements. And this is my sharing, and thank you everyone. And this is my QR code, and please feel free for more information, and thank you everyone.
Exodus, can you? Okay. Thank you so much, Exodus, for your presentation. In particular, the cultural astronomy part and how to reconnect people with their own history associated to astronomy. And now we have a couple of minutes for a few questions. I would like to start with the in-person in case someone asks. No? Okay, John, on that side, is there any questions?
We don't have any questions online at the moment. I'm just double checking. None that I can see. I know that you had one request to contact, but they have been directed to the web page.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, John. Then we move on to the next presentation, which is from Dall'olio. And in Dalia's presentation, I will translate, a spatial library, if I'm saying it correctly.
Yeah, that's true.
An interdisciplinary astronomy case study engaging children and families through informal community spaces, storytelling, and artistic restitution. So thank you, Daria, and the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon to everyone. So today I'm here to share this project that I developed together with the Amateur Astronomer Association, Harar, and the planetarium of my hometown, that is Ravenna in Italy. And I just want to, let's see if I can move the screen. Yes? Did it work? So I just want to quickly present myself. I'm a postdoc until November, then who knows what I will be. I'm studying the birth of new stars using telescopes such as ALMA. They are so powerful instruments. They let us see the amazing and beautiful moments when the new planets and complex organic molecules, the building block of life, are created. And alongside my research activity, I also have been involved in science communication for almost 20 years now. I am a member of the Amateur Astronomer Association ARAR, running the planetarium of Ravenna, where I organize conferences, public events, and outreach projects to communicate science in the best way possible, and especially using very, very, very pop ways. I really like pop culture, and the project Costellazione Manga highly represents my love for pop. This year celebrates its 15th anniversary, so it's a long time. And if you are curious on how I use manga and anime to connect astronomy and people, please don't miss the demonstration Wednesday. Another project is Planetario Amico delle Donne, Give Me Five. It was launched in 2022 in networking with a local association on gender equality and through women's rights. I presented it at the previous CAP meeting in Toulouse. The goal of Give Me Five was to promote STEAM careers among girls and also fight gender gap through public engagement activities. And exactly in this context, we have developed a space library. We merged basically two different needs. One, in one hand, we had our mission within the frame of Give Me Five, so promote women's science and STEM careers. And on the other hand, we needed the Class Sense library, which is an institute managing libraries in Ravenna. And they had the need to enhance libraries through cultural and engaging activities. We didn't focus only on the city libraries, but we also moved to the countryside and school libraries. Well, you guess that libraries are cultural infrastructures rooted in the territory. They are public spaces where several generations meet, where knowledge is preserved, shared, but we wanted to make them places where science is offered to the community. We want to use participation, dialogue, and creativity. And at the same time, we wanted also to raise awareness about gender disparities and offering new role models to younger generation, showing how does research work, and also, the backstage of being an astronomer, and how astronomy is also deeply connected with many aspects of our culture and daily life through art, literature, cinema, music, and of course, storytelling. The first thing that we did was to organize the library spaces in such a way to make them welcoming and informal. Astronomy books were placed on tables and shelves so that they could be used during the meetings and immediately borrowed afterwards by kids if they were interested to borrow them. We organized the project in 3 sessions occurring in 3 different days, for instance, one every week. In the first meeting, I tried my best to talk about astronomy and about my life as a scientist. To break the ice, I usually started with an astronomy team at the brainstorming. Using sticky notes, kids created a map of their ideas and also previous knowledge about astronomy. And this was a really nice thing because it's like a first creative exercise. And when we performed this project inside the school libraries, it was a useful tool for teachers because they can continue the discussion later in the classroom using this map. Then we tried our best, of course, to organize the meeting. There was no fixed script. The meeting was basically one and only, because every meeting is different in this case, since the group shaped in the entire discussion. And I just adapted the dialogue according to their interests and needs. So the kids themselves basically guided the whole discussion through continuous interaction, dialogue, and questions. They were basically driving their own learning. It was really, really cool to see that. And we discussed many different topics, including the launch of, for instance, of Artemis 2. We did not only discuss astronomy itself, but we also moved behind the scene of astronomy research. We had the chance to discuss about the proposal preparation, data analysis, conference, and also how posters and scientific papers were built and prepared. And I also discussed with them all the challenges faced by family researchers and also mothers during their work. So I tried my best to present astronomy not only as an exploration of the universe, but also as an exploration of the human and professional space in which researchers move every day. Then during the second meetings, kids explored astronomy through hands-on activities and practical experiments. We organized quizzes and team-based activities because we wanted to stimulate collaboration, critical thinking, and active participation. So the goal was to allow kids to experience science directly rather than simply listen to explanation. And after that, we asked them to create a personal astronomy-inspired artwork using their preferred artistic technique. That was a challenge. Indeed, during the third meeting, we focused on the dialogue between astronomy and human culture, exploring the role of astronomy in art, literature, comics, movies, and so on. We discussed many artistic examples. We also brought up, for instance, some mosaics that in our city is very famous. Ravenna has a lot of ancient Roman churches hosting mosaics. So we discussed the beautiful starry sky that we have in one of these places. But we also talk about Andy Warhol, Munch, Van Gogh, and so on. And then kids presented their artworks during conference-style event that we organized within the group. And in this way, they become a co-author of the experience. They were really happy to share their emotion and also what they built. The feedback was very good. And they bought a lot of things, paintings. They also dressed costumes like in a cosplay. They made sculptures and also they prepared very original stuff like a bedside lamp that looked like the sun's surface when it was on. That was amazing. Rockets, poems. They prepared even conference posters and presentation. And also they had these really nice scale models of the solar system made with recycled materials. So that was really, really nice to see. While presenting their works during the final conference, we encouraged dialogue, collaboration, and mutual exchange. They were basically the key principle of an healthy scientific community, right? So we encouraged this collaboration. We collected all the artworks and experiences into booklets. The booklets were distributed to kids and institute. You can see here one of them. Basically, it was a tool because we wanted to give them the possibility to revisit their journey and recognize their own contribution in the project. And finally, we also organized a public exhibition to bring the results back to the local community. The local bank foundation offered a public showcase in the main square of the city where we displayed the student works. This transformed the project into a shared public experience involving people, institutions, schools, and also families, because, of course, families were really, really happy to participate in this process. And we have seen that during this project, we didn't, of course, focused only on a single language to communicate astronomy, because, as you probably have noticed, we combined different communication tools to create a broader narrative. We used books together with sticky notes and visual prompts. They were not just simply materials to display, but tools to stimulate questions and curiosity. The meetings were designed as moments of discussion and exchange. We were very happy about this because kids were participating a lot. They were really engaged. And we used creativity and visual expression through personal artworks because we want to let the knowledge settle, give them the time to think about what they have listened and learned. And finally, we obtained very positive feedback from everyone. In particular, I want to share this experience that for us was really, really important. We had a couple of kids with difficult family situation and some other with specific learning support needs at school. They became deeply involved during the meetings, and they participated enthusiastically to the whole project, surprising their own teachers as well. In general, the commitment of the kids was really high. We have seen students themselves proudly explaining the whole experience and their artwork to the City Consular for Culture that you can see here in the figure, in the picture. This was happening during the inauguration of the exhibition. And that was a really nice thing because for us was a proof that kids were really driving their own learning. And so I'm concluding, leaving you the pros and the cons. And I just want to say that the project, for my opinion, has a very nice key strength points, let's say. It has a simple and low cost and easy format that can be easily reproduced in different communities and educational contexts. And I think that it's really nice because it demonstrated that libraries can generate public value. They can strengthen somehow the community participation and can create also a meaningful connection between science, culture, and people. So thank you so much for your attention. If you have questions, I'm here. And if you want to look for more details in the QR code here, you can find the link to the materials that we collected online. Thank you.
For your presentation and for representing the anime lovers community. So now we have as well a couple of minutes for some questions. So John, is there?
Yes, we have 2 questions in the Q&A. The first question is, really lovely artworks created. What was the timeline for the 3 meetings? Over how long did this run? And what period was there between each meeting?
Can you hear me now? Yes. So the entire project is basically working, let's say, in 3 weeks, because we decided to keep each one of the 3 meetings within 1 week. So the kids had the time to, think about what they listened at and what they discussed. But the whole project started in the winter of 2025, in January 2025, and we're still going on. So let's say that is an year that we are started to collect feedbacks from them.
Thank you. And we have one more question, and it's, how did children react to topics and issues related to family? Did they resonate with them as well as the more disciplinary content?
Yeah, so we can distinguish between 2 events. One, the ones that were organized in public libraries, we allowed, of course, families to participate. And, usually in such meetings, in such events, you have families that sometimes they just leave the kids with us and they go. But in this case, we ask it explicitly, please stay with us so you can interact and participate. And they did. And we have seen this amazing thing that parents were enthusiastically participate as well in the discussion. But when we asked the kids to prepare the artwork at home, we asked it also to the parent to okay, just wait a moment, don't do the artwork yourself because it must be, a shared experience. You may want to discuss the things together. And indeed, the final artwork was basically something that they prepared together, and this was really nice because they had a time that they spent at home together to prepare and think about the artwork. The same thing happened also when we presented the project in schools. Of course, there was no chance for parents to attend because it was during the school time. But when they prepared the artwork at home, I'm certainly know that many parents were enthusiastically participating because the guy, for example, that prepared this bedside lamp, he had his parents that was preparing the the electrical connection of the lamp because they built the lamp at home. So at the end, I think that the project brought a very nice time that the parents and the kids could spend together at home. And this, I think that is important.
Are there any questions in the room? Okay, perfect. Just on this last topic, Daria, there's a project in Ireland called the Town Scientist, and I think maybe it would be a good connection, if you both would connect with each other. So maybe I'll send it to you.
Thank you, please. Yes, it would be great. Thanks.
So now, to José Guillermo Mendez, which will present. Hello. Which will present about Bruno, who is touring Mexico with his inflatable planetarium, an astronomy outreach and circus in an immersive experience while the skies remain cloudy. Thank you so much, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, everyone. Is the sound okay? Yes? Okay. I'm not listening anything, so I guess it's okay. Yes, thank you very much. And okay, so thank you for having us. This is Jose and Cuauhtemoc from Mexico, and we're going to share with you the path we have entered with this new mobile planetarium. First, okay, this is a day in the office for us. Our main outreach method is through stargazing nights, telescopes observations, and theme talks, of course. And, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bruno the pirate.
The clown has a special touch with the audience emotions, generally empathy for learning new topics, highlighting vulnerability and even initial failures in reaching at the goal. The audience celebrates this with smiles as they build a new understanding for astronomy.
Here is Bruno as well in a bigger stage. Now, these outreach methods allow us to reach an average of 500 people per month. And we're going to compare this with what we have reached using the mobile planetarium. But as we all know here, for outreach event, we have certain limitations. For example, weather, of course. And we have found that when you find a client able to pay, cloudy seasons starts. Apparently, there is a straight relationship among these two variables. And there is also school schedules, since many schools here in Mexico cannot hold activities at night. And unfortunately, again in Mexico, security is also sometimes a limiting factor. So with these three important limitations, we took the initiative actually to go and find a mobile planetarium for our outreach. This is how we overcame these situations. Of course, we started with research and with different options for mobile planetarium, and those were the finalists too. I'd like to share that, as you may observe, the one on the left shows shadows on the inner dome, and the one on the right was too vulnerable to be placed on grass or soil considering that rural areas where we plan to take it. So to address these two challenges, we spoke with different suppliers until together as a team, we combined the best features of both two worlds to create a robust planetarium with a shadow-free dome. We wanted the dome to be educational as well, bringing elements that could be seen from out of it. So we invited two local astrophotographers, whom we admire a lot, um, to share their images. For example, the sun comes from Victor Ledesma, and the moon comes from Alejandra Stella. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the image after 4 months of development when we finally received our mobile planetarium. Yes, and now we had a new tool and, of course, a new debt to pay. By the way, thanks to American Express and their policy about 6 months with no interest. So this was the first time we set it up. And this is how the Bruno's tour through different municipalities in rural Mexico started, combining, of course, his educational show with inflatable models and, of course, the projections inside of the planetarium. We visited Lagos de Moreno, San Martín de Hidalgo, San Juan, Encarnación de Díaz, Ameca, Querétaro, Atenguillo, and Guanajuato, among different counties that we have visited again with this new planetarium. And of course, we have adapted Bruno's contents to include them in the internal projections. Yes. By the way, you may find these contents in our YouTube channel, Tribu Astronomica. Given the fact this is actually a new tool for us, we've been visiting major planetariums to identify their best practices and try to replicate this into our mobile model. We visited Lowell Observatory, we visited Air and Space Museum and places like this, lovely by the way. And this brought us new challenges as well. Because success has also brought this kind of challenges. Every time we set up at a festival, the appeal of the planetarium draws lines of over 100 people. So how do we face this? It's precisely with the visits to other outreach centers that have helped us to find new solutions, such as this topic displays that we learned from the National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C., and in Virginia as well. So what now? Now the lines have become an interesting place also. They have became part of the experience, because when the people are waiting on the line to get into the planetarium, they are also receiving an outreach experience.
Of course, we continue to hold astronomy nights just like we did at the beginning. It's not one or the other. We believe to appear of our outreach lies in the diversity of stimuli, whether with the telescopes, large inflatables, Bruno Education Show, or the mobile planetarium.
Of course. Now, the difference that the addition of the planetarium has brought is almost 3 times that we had. Being able to reach more people, allow us to be more effective in communicating science, and the benefits it has for formal and informal education. Of course, we believe that the main lesson of this journey and the key word for it would be collaboration inside of the team, given the fact we have a broad diversity of different profiles from the science, from education, and from the circus as well. And also collaboration out of the team by developing alliances with different offices from the government, from the culture, from the arts as well, and from different, of course, schools in Mexico. Therefore, on behalf of the entire Tribu team,
we wish you Clean skies.
Clear skies.
Clear sky.
And clean as well, of course.
Clear sky.
For your presentation as well, and for the emphasis on collaboration efforts as well in all these projects. John, do you have any questions on your side?
We don't have any questions in the Q&A right now, so hopefully you have some in the room.
Okay. So, people in the room, do you have any questions to José? And I'm sorry, I really want to say your name. If you want to teach me, I would love to say it.
Don't worry, you may call me as José's brother. It's fine.
Cuauhtémoc. Cuauhtémoc.
Temok, okay. Do you have any questions for José? Okay.
How long did it take to produce your custom planetarium? That's really great that you took, what you needed from the design. Did you have to wait a while for it?
Actually, yes, like 4 months, because the people who we found that dedicate to sell this kind of stuff, let's say that their customer service is not their best practice. So it took a while, again, like 4 months, to share the design, running some tests, even though at the end the colors were not the same as our original design. But even though is when reality matches ideals, right? But in resume, 4 months. And thanks for asking, by the way.
4 months and 3 visits into other states to check the fabric, the impression.
I have a question about the logistics. Like the dome seems to be is too heavy, first of all, and like how long will it take you to do the whole setup and then to remove it? Because this seems to be a heavy one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, to be specific, 430 kilos.
In
2 big bags. And about the setup, it takes us like, I need to be clear about this. When Memo is working with us, it takes like an hour and a half. When Memo is not present, it may take like 4, maybe even 5 hours just to set up. And the same time it takes to
take it out.
To take it out, actually. It's consider at least 2 hours and 4 people.
Again, to both of you, Temok and José. And now we move on to an in-person talk. And this time it will be, the talk is called Temna stran Lune. I hope I'm saying it right once again. An interdisciplinary approach to communicating astronomy through audio with Maruša and Dunja. Thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So, hi everybody. This is Dunja. I'm Maruša. And together we've been creating a podcast called Temna stran Lune, perfect pronunciation, in Slovenian language. And in English, this means the dark side of the moon. Yes, we've been doing this for 6 years now, and through this project, we'll be talking about interdisciplinary approach to communicating astronomy through audio. Yes, I'm a postdoc astronomer working at the Institute of Astrophysics at the Canary Islands. I work with brown dwarfs with Euclid Space Telescope in a project called Substellar, who also supported my trip. And now I'll give word to Dunja.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Dunja. I'm a Slovenian astronomer working at University of Ljubljana, and I am representing here also the Cosmolab Institute because I'm also involved in outreach. And so a few years ago, we also founded this institute that is devoted to outreach activities. And I'm also a science communicator. So if you can go to the next slide, we will present the the podcast that is called, as Maruša said, Temna stran Lune, so Dark Side of the Moon. It's a Slovenian podcast, but actually we are introducing also some interviews with the English astronomers and astronomers from all over the world. It is published monthly, and it's basically meant for the general public and for space enthusiasts and students and so on. So the topics we are covering are not only astronomy and space science, but also different topics that Maruša will talk about a little bit more. And here you have two QR codes, one that is going to the Spotify link, and the other one is for our website that is currently under development, but I think in 1 week or so it will be finished and you will have a look then. So next slide, please. As Maruša mentioned, we started 6 years ago. So the first phase was the initial idea. So the idea was that astronomy is really a visual science. So we are always looking at very nice pictures of the sky, but we think that astronomy can be communicated through sound. And we will see which kind of sounds we used in our podcast. So after this first phase of setting up the initial idea and let's say the different sections of our podcast, we had to solve some technical aspects. So in particular, we had to buy some new microphones and all the stuff that gets with that, and also to buy some software in order to have the audio produced in a more or less professional manner. So I would like just to say here that our podcast is an audio-only podcast. It's not a video podcast that is very popular now. So in the third phase, beside having, let's say, different sections of our podcast that are usually developing a main theme that can be like chatting between each other, we also introduced some interviews with astronomers and different people that come near astronomy. And then we also added some news from astronomy, events, and what is to be observed at night. Now we are in the phase of expanding to multi-platform in a sense that we are developing, so as I said, the website and a lot of the contents that are audio only will be also available online. Next slide, please. So we wanted to know what is our audience, and if you are working with podcasts, you know that it's very difficult to understand who is listening to your podcast, and in particular, this is due to the fact that we have a lot of different apps that are collecting, for example, the data, but unfortunately, there is no one only app for everything, and every app has a different kind of metrics to understand who is listening to you. So, for example, I think that most of our listeners are more or less my age or so. So, and they are very diverse, and it depends also on the app or on the platform that they are listening to. So as for the countries, they are listening also from different countries, not only from Slovenia. And we also asked our listeners to give us some feedback. So we received actually some feedback from them, and most of them are basically listening at our podcast at home or while driving to, for example, to work, and they have a preference for science podcast in general. So they are listening to other science podcasts. They are also less interested in culture or history of astronomy. So maybe that's one of the things that we should keep in mind. And also they are giving us some suggestions of what to present in the next podcast. So that is a very nice thing that we have. So touch with our public. So next slide. One of the things that we introduced in our podcast in the first editions of our podcast was the sonification of astronomical data. Actually, we checked online if there are sonification of data, and the meaning here was to try to to ask our listeners to get some idea of what we were listening to, and then in the afterwards episode we explained what is the scientific context of those data. And in this kind of thing, we also managed to get in touch with researchers that are using sonification of astronomical data for research purposes, for educational purposes. And that's how also some of the collaborations started. And in the next slide, we can see which of the two collaborations we had in mind. So one was with a science podcast on the right side, Frequenza X, that is a science podcast that is going on our national radio, and is listened a lot from Slovenian people. And it was basically, we were presenting the astronomical sonification of data at an episode that was about the science sonification in general. And the other one was instead a collaboration with the Slovenian Philharmonic Orchestra with a concert, Infinite Universe, that was presented to families and children during their, their program. One of it was the first one, the first concert of the program devoted to families. And we basically, we constructed the whole program together with the Philharmonic Orchestra, and that was really a nice thing to have this kind of opportunity. So next slide, please.
Okay, so now I take over. So the topics we talk about are very diverse. We don't talk only about astrophysics, pretty pictures and things in the sky, but we try to select very different topics. For example, we spoke about astrobiology, extremophiles. We spoke with a researcher who's researching bacteria and fungi in her own dishwasher at home. And she's connecting this to extremophiles that could live in other planets. We are talking about archaeoastronomy, archaeology. We invited a person who applied to be an astronaut, about astronaut training. That's, for example, Slovenia is a land of caves, and that's where they organize a lot of astronaut trainings, ESA, for example. Then we try to engage people with citizen science. We present projects like this. Then we also talk about what's happening in the background, behind the scenes. We invited researchers and engineers who are developing instruments, and we try to show people that what's behind the scenes. Instruments don't just magically come into existence, but there's also lots of hard work involved in this topic. And through all these topics, we try to show people that astronomy is very diverse, related to, connected with lots of other topics. And this is also how we promote STEM. Next slide, please. We pay special attention to gender representation. Our interviewees are also women, more than 50% actually, and we think this is very important. Not just, for example, in public outreach, we read a lot of articles, which is very important, but we also want to give voice to women themselves, to actually hear their voice, to express their opinions themselves. And talk about their career paths, what did it work for them. Traditionally in March now we prepare episodes about women in astronomy. There was, for example, in 2023, there was an episode where we extracted a lot from different interviews, just the most important things women wanted to share about their astronomical paths. And with this episode, we participated in IO event, Women and Girls in Astronomy. Yes, next slide, please. Another project we are starting now, this is related to our podcast, it's called From Audio to Words. This is a podcast, but to increase our inclusivity, we're also starting to make transcriptions, to also make it in written word. This is also important because a lot of our podcasts are now in English, a lot of interviews, because Slovenia is small and you can only interview that many people, that many astronomers. So now we are trying to translate these, also to develop terminology in Slovenian language, which I also believe is very important. So yes, these translations will appear in our new website soon. Next slide, please. And yes, the conclusions, just to summarize, as we heard, audio in astronomy is very important, both for sonification, but also to hear voices of researchers themselves, to hear their enthusiasm and all the behind the scenes events. Then astronomy can connect a lot of different topics, a lot of different fields, so everybody can find something that they're interested in. And at the end, yes, we also try to be as inclusive as possible and also give word to. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you both for your perspective on audio and also the assessment of your own audience, understanding what they want from you as well. So, John, you have a question on that side, right?
Yes, we do. We have one question, and it is, can you elaborate more on the approach or method of data sonification you used?
Yeah, I can elaborate. So the data sonification that we used were actually sonified, let's say, astronomical data that were put through some software that were then put online, or also some sounds from space, for example, I don't know, sounds from wind on Mars or something like that. So we actually searched through the available data online, so available audio online, and we presented that. So we didn't do sonification because we know it's a hard topic, it's hard to do it, and it's hard to do it right. So when we spoke with some of the researchers that are actually doing data sonification, we learned a lot, and we learned that it's not so easy to sonify data and to give an impression of what is really, what you are really looking at. So I know that there is currently a lot of research done on that topic, and that's not easy to understand which is the best way to sonify the data. So what we did for our podcast was just to take what we think is intriguing in terms of data that are sonified for our audience, and then we put on that the content. So we basically explained from where the data were took, for example, were taken. Sorry.
Okay, John, do you have any more questions on that side, or are there any questions in the room? Okay, we have two here.
Hi, I just touching on the part of the AI podcast where you're using voices now. Have you found any struggles with that yet? For example, like pronunciation of certain words, or like the natural way of conversation going? And if so, have you found ways to overcome that?
So we are not using AI for the podcast, but for example, yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
it was more so the translation part.
Oh, okay.
Would you then
Yeah.
yourself speak, or would you use AI for the translation?
Yeah,
vocal part?
for this translation part, maybe Maruša knows better.
Yes, so we tried this. So we are using this podcast platform, online platform where you can record. And some of them do have this option that they can make automatic transcriptions. But I think it's, yes, I don't have the best experience with this. It works, but there's lots of this, yeah, well. And normally when I do translation, I just listen to original audio. Maybe it's my personal preference. It's still, I think it really comes down to personal preference, what you prefer. But it's never ready to publish just directly, because there's lots of these, and people also turn sentences around, so you still have to do it yourself.
Yeah. So maybe to add that, the product that you put on the website is different from the audio, in a sense that when we are speaking with with people, we are speaking in another way. So at the end, we have to very heavily rearrange everything, even if we use AI. But in principle, it can be used, but you should do a lot of work afterwards. And also in the opposite side, when we are using AI for Slovenian, for example, it's not working very well. So it's not working because Slovenian is a language of a small bunch of people.
Okay, and for a last question in the room.
Hi. Super interesting. Could you talk a little bit more about what kind of software you're using and what made you go away from the free ones onto the paid ones?
We are still using free ones because we are working on voluntary basis. So if you use paid ones, you would have to pay yourselves. But those free ones, they still work because you just have monthly limitation. You can record up to 3 hours or so. Our podcast is monthly, so we do about 1 hour a month. So this works. And then, sorry, what was the first part of the question? Yes. Maybe.
Yeah, so when we put some investment in the tech, I meant that we buy some microphones that were the most of our investment. So it was having a microphone is really important nowadays because listeners that are listening to podcasts really wanted to listen to have some experience of good listening. And if you are recording something outside or even with just the computer, it's not working, right? And for the platforms, we use Waveroom now, but we passed through different platforms that were available freely, at least as Maruša said, monthly. And the only one that we paid was for Reaper for producing the audio. That's a more or less professional, actually, software to put all the audio inside and to cut and do everything. So that's the most of our investment. Yeah, thank you.
Was for Dunja and Maruša. Okay, so another in-person presentation. We have Vincenzo asking us, will art tell the story of science? Dialogues between art and science on the cosmos. So Vincenzo, where are you?
I'm online.
Ah, you're online.
Yes, I'm sorry.
It says
Yes.
in person. Okay, great.
Yes, it was wrong on the program. Actually, I really sorry not being there with you. I plan to be there, but then I can't last minute. And I will share my screen for presenting. I hope it will work. Just a second. Okay. Do you see my screen? Do you see my screen?
No, not as yet.
Okay.
We'll just check in with Cynthia and make sure we can get that.
Otherwise, I can. Otherwise, I can put the file. It's better if I put the file in. Probably it's too heavy. Sorry.
Yes, try to upload it, please.
Okay, just a second. No, I'm not sure what is happening. Where I have to upload?
Cynthia.
Okay, I've seen it.
Should we go to the next speaker? Then he can relax
Yes.
and put it up.
Yes, Vincenzo, why don't we let's move to the next one while we upload your presentation with the corrected one, so that we don't.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, we'll continue with you. Yes.
Fantastic. Okay.
So, yeah. In 5 minutes. Okay. So, why don't we move to Francesca? Maybe. Francesca is on. I have the information. Wrong information, apparently. So we're gonna move on with Francesca Maria Aloisio.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm not in person as Vincenzo, but the program is not updated, so here I am. Very sorry
Oh,
not to be
that's
there.
great. That's great. Thank you so much for being here.
So, just a brief presentation of myself. I am Francesca. I've spent many years working at INAF, which is Italian National Institute for Astrophysics, at the press office, and for Media INAF, which is our online science daily. And today I am responsible for image and brand strategy at the Institute. I'm not an astronomer, I'm a communicator, and the Sketchtour is without a doubt one of the most beautiful projects I've ever worked on, which is probably why I'm still talking about it. So let's start with the question. Can you see the slide properly? Because I cannot. Yes, okay, great. This was our problem because astrophysics often is perceived as a remote, abstract, and something that happens far away in the universe, but far away from daily lives of most people. And research institutions like ours often struggle to close that distance. So we asked ourselves a question. Could drawing be a real communication tool for science? Could illustration close the emotional gap between a research institute and the public, not by simplifying, of course, the science, but by making people feel something about it? And this question was the origin of the Sketchtour. And what you are about to see is what happened when we tried to answer to this question. So the idea behind the Sketchtour was simple. We wanted to bridge the distance between astrophysics and society through the universal language of art. Not a science communication booklet, not an infographic, just a genuine piece of illustration made by a genuine artist. And so we invited a French illustrator, Lapin, to travel across Italy to visit INAF's observatories, meeting researchers and drawing instruments, portraying people behind the science. And the goal was to give a human face to the research and to the institute itself. And let me just introduce you to Lapin. Who is Lapin? Lapin calls himself a mobile illustrator. He draws in situ, quickly, accurately, and directly from life. He depicts his surroundings, the people he meets, the places he visits. He doesn't work from photographs. He sits down, opens his sketchbook, and draws what is in front of him. But two words about our institute, because INAF was created in 1999 through the merger of many different research experiences, observatories, institutes, centers that had long been rooted in their local territories. And since its creation, building a coherent and institutional identity has always been a challenge. Each structure has its own history, its own community, its own instruments. And what we were trying to do with the Sketchtour was not to erase those differences, but to celebrate them. Each structure, each researcher, each instrument with their own page on the book. And all together, they sketched, quite literally, an atlas of the Institute as a whole. What emerged from Lapin residency was above all a portrait gallery, illustrated portraits of researchers accompanied by short quotes from their own words. Scientists working at their desks, talking about their discoveries, the people who made the science made visible. And this is something no press releases, no publication list, no institutional brochure had ever managed to produce, because it's a real sense of who these people are. And this is the key point about illustration as a communication tool. It speaks across barriers. The book works for an astronomer, an astronomy enthusiast. It works for an art lover. It works even for a child. You don't need to know the difference between a radio telescope or an optical one to stop in front of a drawing and be moved by it. Let's talk about the scale of the project. The Sketchtour covered 13 cities in Italy, where 17 enough facilities are located. It took place in 2 rounds. The first in spring 2023, covering the facility in central and northern Italy, and the second in the autumn of 2023, dedicated to the south and to the islands. In total, approximately 30 days of traveling and artistic residency. Lapin moved through Italy just with his sketchbooks, his pens, and his capacity to observe. Over those 30 days, Lapin produced more than 160 illustrated pages. And of these, 164 were selected for the publication. He drew at a pace of 5 to 8 pages a day. He mixed portraits of researchers, landscape views of the observatories, and technical sketches of scientific instruments. The entire creative process took place on site, and freedom of movement within each facility was essential. Lapin needed to be able to wander, observe, choose its subjects. And after the residency, he managed to full post-production himself, scanning, cover design, text editing, and print liaison. And the final book is a faithful facsimile of his original sketchbook. Maybe some of you may remember that I was here at the CAP, not here, but in Toulouse in 2024, and I presented the project Sketchtour as a work in progress. And at the time, we were still asking ourselves the question if can illustrated atlases truly serve as effective tools for science communication? And today I'm here trying to answer. Because since 2024, something happened. Several things happened. And they happened in ways we had not entirely planned. So let me tell about them one by one. The first step was institutional. The Sketchtour illustrations became the visual backbone of the official INAF 2025 calendar, distributed across all research centers and partner institutions through Italy. This is not a minor detail, because it means that for an entire year, every researcher and every partner of INAF saw this illustration on their desks, in laboratories, in offices, in meeting rooms, and so art became an institutional asset. The drawings became part of daily life inside the institute. And then came something bigger, because selected Sketchtour drawings were presented as a large-scale public exhibition at the Rome Science Festival in 2025. Rome Science Festival is one of Italy's most prominent science communication events, and is held every year here in Rome at the Auditorium Parco della Musica. So for the first time, Lapin's illustration left the pages and occupied the physical space. We printed them at monumental scale, and observatories and researchers became larger than live presence in the middle of a cultural festival. And this was a completely different register of communication, and it worked. The exhibition reached the audience who would not ordinarily approach astrophysics: art lovers, families, curious passerby who were there for a concert or a literary event, walked past a giant drawings of the radio telescope and stopped. And they stopped and looked. And then they asked questions, of course. And that pause, that stop in front of an image, not a panel of text, is exactly what Sketchtour was designed to create. We had the proof in some way that it worked. We also brought La Pen to Foligno, another Italian city, to the Festa di Scienza e Filosofia, Science and Philosophy Festival, when he ran a drawing workshop on the open air. And this added a completely new dimension to the project, because the participants use drawing not just as a way to receive science, but as a way to explore it. They sketched telescopes, drew instruments, and noticed details that they had probably never seen before. The act of drawing became the learning experience. And the relationship between art and science didn't stop at the end of this festival, because the Sketchtour drawings are now permanently installed at the Astronomical Observatory of Rome. A working research facility has been transformed some way in a space open to visual storytelling and public exploration. Art and science now coexisting in the same corridors permanently. Then I want to tell you a story that perhaps best illustrates what Sketchtour had become, because nobody planned it. A colleague gave the Italian rapper Caparezza a copy of the Sketchtour as a gift. And the timing turned out to be perfect, because Caparezza was in the middle of filming the music video for his new single, and the book ended up among the props on the set. It was not a sponsorship, it was not a collaboration, it was just a coincidence, but made possible by the fact that the object was beautiful enough and coherent enough with Caparezza's own artistic work to belong there naturally. And I'm very proud of it. Caparezza's new album comes up, it has to be said that Caparezza's new album came accompanied by a space-themed graphic novel, and so an illustrated atlas of Italian astrophysics was, in a sense, exactly the kind of thing he would have sold himself. The book didn't need to be placed there. It found its place on its own. And then what began as a casual gift grew into something more, because Caparezza chose INAF's headquarters as the location for his album launch interviews. Suddenly, INAF was in the spotlight of mainstream media, not only as a scientific institution, but as a creative one. We had 6 national media outlets that came to INAF headquarters to interview the rapper and left knowing what a radio telescope is. The encounter revealed something important. Oh, thank you. When science builds objects with genuine aesthetic quality, it stops needing to reach audiences. The audiences come their own, through paths no communication agency could have mapped in advance like this. And then what's next? What's coming next? The Sketchtour opened the question. What we are working on now takes that question further. Drawn to the Star is a series of short illustrated episodes, one researcher, one discovering, one drawing at a time, designed to travel across platforms and languages. It brings the people behind the science into focus with the same intimacy that Sketchtour work. And
Hi, Francesca. We're just running a bit short on time, so we just got to ask you to wrap it up if you can in the next 30 seconds or minutes.
Yeah, of course. We are going. I'm closing because we are having a new adventure in the Canary Island, and I just let me conclude saying that we had a great impact of this project, and the art speaks itself. Art does not simply depict research; it brings it closer to people, to people's everyday imagination. That's it. And for who is willing to see Lapin's work, you can find his website is lesillustrationsdelapin.com.
Okay, thank you so much, Francesca. There were really beautiful
Thank you.
sketches and a really beautiful work. And as John said, we don't have time for questions, so now we move on to the next presenter, Vincenzo.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. This time I hope everything will work.
Yeah.
So I think, okay, my slides are here, and I think I can move. Yes, perfect. So very quickly, I will try to tell you the path that we have done, that I have done between INFN before and then the European Gravitational Observatory between art and science. I'm in charge of communication of HIGO, the European Gravitational Observatory, that's hosts Virgo, that's one of the 3 gravitational wave detectors in the world. As you know, gravitational waves are very flexible cosmic signal that bring us information about black hole merger, stars merger, also million or billion of years distant from the Earth. So the point, this is the starting point, of course, of all our dialogue and collaboration with artists. What is important to focus on is our approach in this case is not an illustrative approach that, of course, is at all legitimate, but it's really a kind of meeting in which artists continue to pursue their own research, their own artistic research. So it's a bit a kind of extreme and ambitious goal, because what we want to try is really kind of dialogue, provide to the artists contents concerning our research, but then let them produce their own project. And the point is that we have to have clear that there are 2 different communities. So the community of science and community of art, there are usually use languages, use tools, have rules that are deeply different, and anyone should kind of recognize and keep consider with a kind also of respect the path of the other community. So as an institution, as a scientific institution, what we try to do is to put the base to trigger this meeting, and then let's see what happens. So the success is not guaranteed at all from the beginning. As a base of this dialogue, of course, from our side, we have plenty of content of modern and contemporary astronomy and astrophysics and cosmology that, of course, question artists, inspire artists. But what also is very inspiring and important in the dialogue with the artists is to let them know this very broad community of thousands of people working together in the case of gravitational wave for connecting with very violent and remote events. So there is a technological challenge, there is a community challenge, there is a collaboration challenge, and all this is part of the dialogue between scientists and artists. I will show you some example of the outcome of this collaboration. One is this exhibition that we present in 2017-18 at Maxi in Rome with very prominent and outstanding international artists. One of these is Thomas Saraceno, and there is all the work of Saraceno on spiderweb that in some cases become kind of metaphor of the structure of the cosmos. And especially in this exhibition, we put there was this spiderweb that was connected in a way with a model of gravitational wave interferometer, and the vibration of the spiderweb become kind of vibration that we can detect with this small model of interferometer, and one kind of feedback process between the artwork and the model started and make some result. Another interesting artwork was this one of Laurent Grassot that reproduced on a smaller scale the Penzias and Wilson experiment that detected the cosmic background, and put in a kind of video immersive scenario, starting a reflection about human being, nature, and our capacity of detecting the echo of the Big Bang, and to put ourselves in relation with the cosmos and with nature. These are some images of this exhibition that mainly was characterized by the fact that we put together artworks and also pieces of real scientific research. So trying to engage in a very, I would say, extreme dialogue between art and science, and also involving audiences that usually do not mix among them, like the audience of scientific exhibition and the one of contemporary art exhibition. These are other examples, but I probably will pass through. Another one, again, a work of an artwork of Thomas Saraceno, was presented in 2019 in Palais de Tokyo in Paris. And also in this case, this artwork, in a sense, start from a dialogue of Thomas with EGO and with other scientific institutions. Here, the idea was to have this room in which you, as you see, have this structure. This is a very high and large room in which you have this structure of fibers and wires, and basically we were able to connect live Palais de Tokyo with several experiments around the world, detecting cosmic rays and gravitational waves and other cosmic signals. And the point was that Thomas was able to transform the arrival of this signal in vibration, in different vibration of different fibers of this complex structure. And you can go through, as a visitor, through this area, through this room, and you have a kind of resonating room, resonating environment, together with the cosmos, in a sense that collect and resonate at the arrival live of all these cosmic signal that in this moment we are capturing, or in that moment we were capturing from the cosmos. So this is, I think, a brilliant example about the way the dialogue of the most recent development of research about the cosmos can interact and with the own research of an artist about sound, about vibration, about the connection of microcosmos and macrocosmos, about the connection and reflection of the place of human being on the world and in the cosmos. Then there is another horizon that I want to mention, what I call the horizon of sonification. We heard already before a presentation that touched these topics. For what concerns gravitational waves, basically we can sonify in a very easy way the waves, the space-time waves that we detect. These are not sound, but we can basically put this data in a speaker and we can listen to a sound. This sound is called a chirp. I think that many of you already heard it. It was a kind of whoop. And this chirp is really a natural sonification of the data that we collect. And of course, this, in a sense, gives you the feeling of a different display, of a different way to listen to this echo of this very violent and extreme cosmic phenomena. And it is clear that this kind of thing inspire musicians and sound artists in many different ways. And so based on this kind of sonification, we started several collaboration with artists, some local artists like Massimo Magrini, but other artists, Attila Faravelli. Also in the last years, Bob Wilson visited us. So this is something that can be elaborated in many different ways and become electronic music, and can be also put in different way in the work of artists. On this work, we collaborated also with Juan Díaz Merced, who is a world leader of this movement of sonification of astronomical data. Of course, all this work allows us to reach new audiences in our festival, in different events, in different context that usually we had not reached. Last point that I want to touch, and then I go to close quickly my presentation, is the program of artists in residence that we developed since a couple of years. We have collaborated for that with, let's say, a curatorial association based in Rome, Spazio Taverna, and together with Spazio Taverna, we select the young artists that we want to host on site here at IGO for a couple of weeks usually, but depends from project to project. The first one was this young artist, Lulu Nuti, who is basically, she makes sculptures. So she was with us for a couple of weeks, visiting the site and having dialogue with the scientists, with different expertise, with technicians, with engineers. And on the hand, she produced this artwork. It's called In My End Is My Beginning. And she was presented at Festival dei Mondi di Spoleto in 2024. Several more artists also reach us by themselves. This is the Brazilian artist Pedro Torres, Inigo Cabo from Venezuela, Luca Serasini, and many others. Probably I can mention also other two nice work that we are carrying on in these days. One with Attila Faravelli, who basically works on collecting sound, environmental sound, recording environmental sound, so what the people call field recording, and producing kind of soundtrack in which he is able to mix very different kind of sound, from the technical sound to the voices of people to the environmental natural sound and so on. And Alice Baltrimieri, who is doing a work on the dreams of the scientists. So she did basically collect dream of dozens of scientists for a couple of months, and at the end, and she's producing a video installation based on the content of these dreams. So just for conclusion, why a scientific institution triggers such invest resources in such kind of project? For several reasons. Of course, it makes sense to compete, let's say, on the market of cultural entertainment, also producing our own offer in a sense, also for establishing science and scientific institution as real cultural producer and cultural stakeholder. And in this sense, This allows us to have several connections with foundation, museum, festival, local institution in a large sense. There is also a name connected to the fact that we are convinced that there is a true and authentic cultural research in the dialogue between art and science. And this is part of the responsibility of scientific institutions to share with society their knowledge, but also, yes, I'm closing, but also kind of claiming of cultural leadership of science in our society. Thank you.
To be achieved. See that? And now we move on to the last presentation of this parallel session with Jan Sechin. A day-night inclusive pathway for first-time astronomy learners at Nesin Village. Thank you so much for.
Hey. Okay, all right. Welcome. Thanks a lot. So this is the hardest on me and you right now. The last presentation of the first day, we're all sleep deprived, we're all jet lagged and such. And I'm just told I have just 10 minutes for this presentation. So believe me, it'll be short and fast. So we'll be out soon. So next, please. This is the outline. You can all read. Next, please. So I'm Can Çetin. I'm an amateur astronomer, an astrophotographer. Next, please. I was a researcher at Middle East Technical University, Science and Technology Policy Studies. I edited one book, Astrology on Trial by Science. I contributed on a National Science and Technology Foundation popular science book, Let's Get to Know Our Sky. I got some pictures, photographs in there. I contributed to a open science podcast, and now with my good colleagues Sema and Art, we're founding a astronomy communication platform called Gokte Ne Var. If I had time, believe me, I would definitely talk about it. Next, please. So this is why I'm here for. Last year, we made a really nice day and night camp with 30 newcomers to the hobby in Nesin Village. Next, please. Please don't imagine a village like a village. It is a utopia. It is an utopia by one man's vision and one other's architectural gusto and craftsmanship. Ali Nesin and Sevan Nişanyan. Next, please. This is a village in Şirince, İzmir, where students are not pressured under grades, under exams, diploma, certificates, or nothing as such. They just come there. They have nice college professors they got taught with. They stay in tents. They stay in dormitories. Next, please. And they share the chores, the daily chores. They cook. They help cook, let's say. They clean. Some of them, I think, do the dishes and everything. Yeah, I can talk about Nesin Village. We should definitely do so. We should all try to build at least an astronomy village in future. Next, please. These are the somewhat 30 people, very diverse people, aging between 19 and 52. We had stay-in moms, we had airline pilots, we have medical doctors, we have whatever profession you would imagine. Next, please. These are the topics we covered during the day. Now I want you to imagine now talking me for 2 minutes how carefully these topics were curated to be taught at the village. All right? So this is what we did. We did introduction because during my days when I was trying to learn astronomy, I'm old. It was no internet. And I'm trying to struggle how a complete galaxy is between some number of stars. A galaxy in Virgo cluster. I couldn't understand that for a very long time. So this is what I wanted to cover, the distinction between sky and space and everything, history of astronomy, astrophysics, and we even did a field trip to Apollo Temple, covered archaeoastronomical facts with Sema. Next, please. These are the good people. We had one biologist, two astrophysicists, a mathematician, an archaeologist, and me, an amateur astronomer. So diverse people, multidisciplinary and diverse teachers. This is what this camp is all about. Next, please. You see some daytime activities. Like this is our classroom, one of the classrooms. The bottom left is another classroom. And we are observing the sun with a hydrogen alpha telescope. This is one of the most stunning things people are reporting. We'll come to that later. And this is Apollon Temple in Didima. Next, please. These are our equipment. No participant, I wouldn't say we're allowed, but we're not asked to bring their own equipment because as we'll come to the screening part, we wanted this to be as inclusive as it could be, right? So we wanted to set the barrier to a law. Next, please. These are the nighttime activities. So I want to talk more about how we screened all the participants, these 30 diverse people. We only got I would say 2.5 questions to screen. First, please tell me how you were first got into the hobby. What sparked you? And what's your experience so far? And the second question, what are your expectations during this 6 days? And that's it. And that's it. And believe me, you don't need any further questions to screen. I would hate to screen. I would hate capacities and everything. But things have their own nature. We have limited time, we have limited dormitories, we have limited equipment as such. So I would want to do it with 100 people, and we had more than 100 applications, but we had to go with 30. Next, please. We did a post-camp survey to fix for the next time and to celebrate ourselves, what we did right. We wanted them to rate their overall experience, evaluate the timing, evaluate the content and the speaker, and how it affected their engagement. And 23 were kind enough to fill out the survey. Next, please. This is miracle, you know, because overall experience is their overall experience, including the chores, including the weather, including sleeping arrangements, because it was bad, I would say. Because we were observing until 6 a.m. in the morning. They tried to get a sleep in their very hot tents until 2 o'clock. Overall experience. And this is a proof that they were selected real well. The topics are curated well and well expressed. So, and one more thing. Shared chores make people connect. And connection makes peer learning much more boosting for each and everyone. So we averaged at 9, their overall experience. Next, please. 57% found 6-day duration was optimal. 17 found it boring, I would say, and 26 didn't find it enough. Next, please. These two may seem similar, but they account for, they measure other things, because 20-hour daytime courses are the amount of data they were given, right? And the 6-day duration is something else. So we asked for both, and this is the proof that these measure other things, because 53, more than half of them found it not adequate. But the thing is, we cannot cover it all in just one camp. So we asked, next question, please. What could have been covered less? Because we have to omit something to add something, right? Space race era, history of astronomy, and pseudosciences and skepticism, aka fight against astrology, was found, I would say, too much. I would disagree, but still. Next, please. And what should have been covered more? Mythology. It really surprised me, because but the thing is, we all love stories, right? And mythology serves a really nice purpose, that people remember what they see, what they are told during the night, the constellations, the story of the Orion, the rabbit and the ox and everything. And Mars, it's a hype. There's a significant research going on in there. A lot of budget is bestowed upon. Philosophy of science, astrophotography. They wanted more astrophotography. We did astrophotography with mobile phones. We did some hands-on work, and I'll show you a couple of pictures they took with only their phones. So the question was, what should have been covered more? Then cover it more. Go ahead. The next, please. It was the most magnificent thing. They built an organic online community. If Mars is not covered enough, this guy, Bora, said, I'll cover it. I'll study it, and I'll make a presentation to those who want to join. This was a miracle, and some others followed it. Mythology courses were given. Astronomy in Mesopotamia was given, and still to this day, it is it's almost a year now. These people are still getting together bi-weekly and still doing their thing. So next, please. What we have learned. So low barrier for entry is a must. We should select, but don't intimidate, right? We selected the participants on a curiosity first, I would say, principle. If you are bold enough to attract diverse people from all over, you have to get in contact with diverse teachers. A shared course make human connections make peer learning boost. Outreach means we had guest observers, because you all know that, right? You set up your big telescopes, your astrophotography setup and everything. There's something going on. We couldn't, and we didn't want to limit it to those who attended to Gokte Ne Var camp. All other camps from other philosophy classes, art classes, science classes, mathematicians, they joined, and it had a spillover effect we would never imagine. And community building. Online meetings are the I would say miraculous thing that happened during Gokte Ne Var. Next, please. We're working on a new one, which will take place in Perseid Week in August. We'll definitely cover more astrophotography with art. I think we may still have capacity for 4 or 5, so please hurry up. It is on nesinköyleri.org. if you want to join. Next, please. I think you will be able to see better pictures if you get online and go to the presentation. Next, please. These are attendance photographs only by their cell phones. Şunlara halıtın. So it was Can Çetin from Gokte Ne Var. Thank you. I think I may have some questions. The camp is not in English, but I'll translate for anyone who will attend from this room. Do I have time for questions? Oh, perfect. Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, go ahead.
So one of each. The question is on economic aspects, like how much do participants pay or where does the money come from? And the comment is that the next session you will have is exactly when the eclipse will take place, the total solar, so on the 12th of August. So hopefully there will be a session on the, I mean, I don't know how dark it is in Turkey. I think it's not total. Yeah, probably you should have a session on so that people can see.
So yeah, I was expecting that. So Nesin köyleri, Nesin villages are a non-profit organization. They only charge the cost, and it is, if I'm not wrong, I'll have to translate into US dollars. Kind of $200 for all the lessons or the equipment or our efforts or accommodation, eating, and everything. It is nothing. And about solar eclipse, maybe we'll do something in 2027 when there's this big event, right? Yeah, thank you. Any more comments or questions? All right, thank you.